Hello and welcome to the latest episode in our WWE 2026 series. We are heading straight towards Saturday night's main event 37 in today's episode. That's the main focus of what we're doing. Before we do that, we will bring you all of the goings on in the February tour for the men. They only did 3 shows in this tour, building up to the Saturday night's main event, but we will go through what happened in those shows. And also, we'll go through some of the business that we need to cover in terms of what's happened in the company. And I think at this point is a really good idea for me to say that I'm actually getting to the point where I feel like things are slotting into place. But we have got a couple of things that we need to address. The first one being my concern about the company size. So I will take you back to our goals, our owner goals that we were given right at the start of the show, which is WWE must not have fallen below huge sides when the team expires. Now, this is of critical importance. Now, I don't know whether this means that you can never fall below huge size at any point during this 903 days, or you can fall below it, but by the time the time expires, you kind of have to be above it again. I don't know. I think it's probably the former of those two, which is a concern for me, because look at where we are in terms of our size. We are very close to being on the brink of not being. Huge. Actually, that's wrong. I've completely read this wrong. I was looking at Titanic and thinking, oh no, we've got to make sure that we're 77 in every region here and whatnot. Um, no, actually, I was right. God, sorry. So look, you can see here we've got to achieve 77 popularity across Eastern USA, so the Great Lakes, Mid Atlantic, New England, Southeast, and Tri-State, which we currently are. Plus, we've got to have the popularity in Canada that we're enjoying, which we're fine. Actually, that's not a problem because it only needs to be 71. My concern here is that if one of these regions falls below 77, we could be in trouble, and we're not far off from that when you consider that Midwest is 77, and our size has reduced every single show we've done. Now, I'm hoping that that won't be the case for the next event. I believe that this Saturday night's main event is going to, at the very least, keep us at the current level of popularity that we're at. But I'm hoping also it will actually grow our popularity in some regions. But if we go down at all, um, if this Saturday night's main event show does not deliver in the way I hope it will, then we could be facing going down to big size, which would be contrary to this owner goal, or at least I think it would be, given the assumptions I'm making. That coupled with this issue, which I already have addressed, which is the 70 no more than 74 workers with a wrestler or occasional role on the roster. Well, you can see I now have 116, so we're so far beyond that, and I just don't see us getting down to that. I need all of those wrestlers. So once again, kind of feel like I made a mistake at the start of the game, not making myself the owner. Maybe there's something I can do in terms of the in-game editor or the sandbox editor within the game to try and change all that, and I may have to, but we will see. We'll not do that just yet. Now, in terms of the business that had gone on in the last few weeks since we were with you last, we've had 2 people identified as steroid users by the wellness policy. Now we found both of them. The game, and I have to really stress this is just a game, not real life. The game has allocated Jordan Grace and Sean Davari as 2 people using steroids. So we find them both. I think my intention with these kind of wellness policy violations is if they do it once, I'll fine them. If they do it twice, I'll suspend them. And if they do it 3 times, I'm going to have to release them, which it's not what I want to do, certainly for someone like Jordan Grace, but there we go. Charlotte continues to cause rifts between Becky Lynch and others. And we've also signed somebody to a new deal, that being Austin Theory. Signed a new 3-year deal just recently, a small bump in salary. Um, Actually, it says here maybe we're still in negotiations with him. I thought we'd done it. Yes, we are still in negotiations with Austin Theory. So we're basically, giving him an additional 1 year. I said 3 years actually, didn't I? A 1 year deal. A 1 year deal for Austin Theory that because I'm not sure about him in the long term, but he is part of the vision, so part of our plans for the time being, and so he got a new 1 year deal. So those are the business side of things that I wanted to cover with you. Let's go to the tour that we've just done. Now, the tour, I always go to the wrong screen here. The tour that we've just done started actually before the Women's Tag Classic. And this was kind of like the show after the Royal Rumble, although it was a number of days later, like 19 days later. It was kind of the first show after the Royal Rumble. And it kind of just started to bed in some of the feuds that are coming out of that, and ending some of the others. So, for example, in the opener, Drew McIntyre was on a separate team to Shinsuke Nakamura, and these two obviously began a feud in the Royal Rumble match. We had the Street Profits defeat DIY. That's because, as we've said before, Tommaso Ciampa is going to be released at the end of his contract. We're not renewing that contract, so we're basically just having him do some jobs before he goes. We had Randy Orton call out Gunther come out to the stage, but then Randy Orton be attacked by the European Union, suggesting that Gunther is now with that faction and they continue to grow very strong. We also had a continuation of the MFT Bloodline feud against the Usos and Jacob Fatu in a six-man tag match. Then we had Roman Reigns, the winner of the Royal Rumble, come out and tell Cody and CM Punk that it doesn't matter who wins at Saturday night's main event in their title unification clash. He says he'll be the champion after WrestleMania now that he's won the Royal Rumble. And then the final match of the night was CM Punk, AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Sheamus against the Vision. Of course, Sheamus continues to have problems with the Vision. Then into day two of this tour, and the real big goings on really is, first of all, a couple of matches were announced that isn't on this screen, but they've been announced prior to this show, which is that first of all, the tag team titles, the two different belts, will be unified at Saturday night's main event. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, who are the current I don't know which one of the tag team champions, are up against Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy, who are the other tag team champions. The other match that was announced is that Dominic Mysterio, the Intercontinental Champion, will defend his title against Ilya Dragunov, the US champion, sorry, and those two titles will be unified at Saturday night's main event as well. We also had Sheamus defeating Austin Theory, then being attacked by all the members of the Vision after the victory. And finally, we had a continuation, as I say, of the feud between the MFT Bloodlines and the Jacob Fatu and the Uso brothers. And then finally, we had day three of the tour. First of all, Drew McIntyre cutting a promo on Shinsuke Nakamura, saying that he will be destroyed at Saturday night's main event, as it is announced that Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura will face one another. We also saw the War Raiders defeat DIY, and after the match, Johnny Gargano turned on Tommaso Ciampa and attacked him. Basically, again, this is just our way of writing Ciampa out of the story, out of the storylines, and kind of letting him be released effectively. We also had Sheamus saying that he's going to bring four guys at Saturday night's main event to face the Vision. AJ Styles faced Joe Gacy in a singles match as they head towards the tag team title unification match at Saturday night's main event. We had a promo by CM Punk, the best angle we've run so far, where he told Cody Rhodes that at Saturday night's main event, he's going to hold nothing back. Cody will be getting every single ounce of him in that match. And a kind of real go-home promo that Punk absolutely delivered on. And then finally, the main event of the last tour show was the European Union defeating Randy Orton and the Judgment Day. Of course, Gunther up against Randy Orton, and the rest of the European Union eager to sort of support Ilya Dragunov as he goes up against Dominic Mysterio. So they're all in a big old feud at the moment. So let's run down a little bit, shall we? The shows, the matches we've got for the card. I mean, obviously, first of all, the main event, the WWE and World Heavyweight Unification match, Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk, is going to be pretty big indeed. Then, in addition to that, we've got Randy Orton versus Gunther in their singles match, a rematch, of course, from the match they had in the Royal Rumble qualifying. We've got the Usos and Jacob Fatu versus the Bloodline MFT, that's Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Then we've got the IC and US title unification match, Dominic Mysterio versus Ilya Dragunov, both titles on the line. And Drew McIntyre will face Shinsuke Nakamura in a grudge match as well. They're also, of course, the tag team title unification match that we've got lined up. We're going to see a singles match as well between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, and 10-man tag match as the entirety of the Vision will face Sheamus and four men that he will be hoping can get the job done. So that's everything ahead of Saturday night's main event 37. And when I'm next with you, we will go through the show. Okay, so here we are then, Saturday night's main event, and I got to be honest, I'm really quite nervous about this. There's something about the setup to the shows that I'm still struggling with on TEW9. I've got to be honest. I'm not even sure that this is being televised on Netflix as it should be, given the what thought I selected. And also, for example, Saturday night's main event was also already in the calendar when I started going through this game. And one thing I didn't take into account is that. Um, it was set to be a minor show at first. So I did set it to be a major show or a normal show, I should say, at a certain point, but I don't know if it was early enough to affect the game. So we'll see what happens. We've only got 10,062 people here though, which I'm a little bit worried about. I mean, we are in Quebec, so maybe that's the reason. I don't know. But anyway, this is Saturday night's main event. And before the first match of the night, as Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are stood in the ring ready for their opening contests of the night, Gargano takes the mic and he tells Tommaso Ciampa that he has been holding him back in their tag team for too long. He says that they've always had a love-hate relationship, and Gargano's finally come to the realization that there's nothing left for them to do together. Segment rating of 44 to start off this big show, and it is really important given what I was talking about earlier on with the size issues that I'm kind of a little bit nervous about. The match itself, though, a poor match, but I think that's all right. A segment rating of 57. Johnny Gargano wins this one with a handful of tights after 10:23. He got an in-ring performance of 57. Tommaso Ciampa only of 46. And this was a decent opener, if not an amazing opener. I'm pretty happy with the start of this show. Then we move on to the 10-man tag match, and Sheamus brings out with him LA Knight, Sami Zayn, Carmelo Hayes, and The Miz to take on the 5 men of the Vision. But the Vision get the victory when Bron Breakker pins The Miz with a Gorilla Press Power Slam. Sami Zayn was the best worker in the match, a rating of 71 here. Sheamus just a 61, which is a bit of a disappointment. Logan Paul got a 61 though as well. He looks good. Bron Breakker just a 58. A segment rating of 66, though, so a good second match of the night for me, and even the game thinks it was a decent match. So that's more like it. That's what we're looking for. Okay, then next we had the tag team unification match between the Wyatt Six members Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy and AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. And this one ends in 11 minutes and 5 seconds when Dexter Lumis pinned Dragon Lee with a Shawshank. A segment rating of 60, so pretty decent here. AJ Styles had a 62 rating, Joe Gacy a 51, Dexter Lumis just a 43. And I've got to be honest, I wasn't super pumped or inspired by either of these tag teams being the unified tag champs. And to be honest, the reason I had the Wyatt Six win was more because I wanted to free AJ Styles up for other things rather than anything to do with either of these teams. So, yeah, the Wyatt Six are the new unified tag team champions. Who knows how long they'll keep those belts. Then we had Drew McIntyre versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and Drew McIntyre won in 13:22 by pinfall with a Claymore kick following interference from Apollo Crews. So Apollo Crews comes in and makes the difference. A segment rating of 66, and McIntyre had an in-ring performance of 69, so he's doing really well. Nakamura not so much. But still the crowd heat's simmering, so we've got to be reasonably happy with that. After the match, Drew McIntyre introduced Apollo Crews as the first member, joining him in the Warriors, his new stable. So again, all the wrestlers of the WWE seem to be in this phase of trying to get into stables to secure their position longer term within what is becoming an increasingly gang-based WWE. He says that more will follow suit ahead of WrestleMania. Segment rating of 60, not blowing the world away, but not too bad either. Then we had the match to unify the Intercontinental and US titles, where Dominic Mysterio wins in 13:43 by pinfall with a 619. He becomes the unified Intercontinental and US champion. I actually don't know what the title is going to be called longer term. Segment rating is 67, so a decent match here, pretty good. Mysterio had an in-ring performance of 69, Dragunov of 59. I went back and forth on this one. Got to be honest, I wasn't sure which one I wanted to make the winner, but I decided in the end, given Mysterio's got a lot more kind of momentum at the moment, he's got that groundswell of public support and being the flavor of the month that you can see there in terms of the notes, that I just felt like he was probably the better place to take advantage of this big victory, and so we've given it to Mysterio. Segment rating of 67 is not bad at all. Next up, we had the Jimmy Uso, and Jacob Fatu take on the Bloodline MFTs of Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa. You can see here that this went to a draw when the match descended into chaos. Tonga Loa being the weak link, struggling to keep up with everyone else's in-ring performance. A 59 segment rating here. Jey Uso did a 70, but Tonga Loa did a 38. So you can see there's a real range of performances in this one, with Jimmy Uso off his game as well. They continue to brawl after the match until they are interrupted by Roman Reigns. And I was hoping for a lot better than this from this segment rating. I've got to be honest, because Roman Reigns is the operative man in this one. So he yells over the mic for the 6 men to stop fighting. He then tells them that this is what the rest of WWE want. They want them fighting one another rather than going out and fighting others. He says that he had it best, and so did they, when they were a unit, a family. He tells them at WrestleMania he has the chance to get it all back. Having won the Rumble, he will face either Cody or CM Punk. And he tells them that if they join him once more, they will once again be the most dominant force in all of WWE. He then puts his finger to the air and asks all of the 6 men in the ring to follow suit. One by one, they do so, with the last one doing it being Jey Uso, who reluctantly, seemingly, puts up the finger. So segment rating of 58, I was really, really disappointed by this. Maybe I watered it down too much by including all these other guys in terms of the overall rating of the segment, and maybe I should have just gone Roman Reigns speaks and we won't even worry about the other people in the segment. But I needed them to raise their fingers, and that's all they needed to do. So maybe a mistake there and a learning for me in the future. But Roman Reigns bringing back the Bloodline together. And creating a super faction here as part of the WWE going forward. After this, we had the match between Randy Orton and Gunther, which I was hoping for better from as well. This one went to a 20-minute time limit draw. Randy Orton had a 65 in-ring performance. Gunther a 72. A segment rating overall of 69. Not a bad match, but I was hoping for a little bit more from this as these two go to this time limit draw. So it's on to the main event and what will probably determine whether this was a successful show or not. An 83 rated match, fantastic heat and good wrestling. CM Punk defeats Cody Rhodes in 23 minutes and 18 seconds by pinfall with a go to sleep. CM Punk becomes the unified, universal WWE World Heavyweight Champion. A brilliant match. Crowd rating of 85. The crowd got hot here and that heat was rising. Segment rating of 83. Cody Rhodes did an 80. A Punk only a 74. Disappointment maybe from that perspective. Cody being the best performer in the match by some way here. But really importantly, this was the best match we've done so far. And this was also the main event. But the show isn't over because after CM Punk celebrates his victory, he walks off. And out comes The Rock in front of the crowd. He comes out and he tells Cody that he feels cheated. He feels cheated because he wanted to be the one to destroy Cody's dream of going to WrestleMania 42 and defending the undisputed title. And it's been taken away from The Rock by CM Punk because CM Punk beat Cody and did it for him. He tells Cody that this has been on his mind for the last 2 years. 24/7, he cannot stop thinking about Cody and what Cody did to him because Cody destroyed his dream. Cody destroyed The Rock's dream of retiring at WrestleMania 40 opposite his cousin Roman Reigns. He said it was going to be the biggest match in wrestling history, and Cody took it away from him. He took away his dream to retire at WrestleMania 40. And since that point, The Rock has been trying to find ways to get Cody back. And he says that he did, first of all, attempt to prevent Cody from finishing his story by helping Roman Reigns beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. But Cody managed to come through and finish his story. He then tried to get Cody to sell him his soul so that The Rock would have control over Cody and would be able to destroy him from the inside. But Cody told him to go F himself. And then he turned to Cena to take the title away from Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. And Cena did it, but Cody didn't go down and die. He carried on, he kept going, and won the belt back at SummerSlam last year, once again meaning that The Rock had not gotten the revenge that he so desired. And so he says that now he sees only one way out, one way to end the hatred, the constant thinking about how he can destroy Cody Rhodes, and challenges Cody to go one-on-one with the Great One at WrestleMania 42. He says that win, lose, or draw, this will be his very last professional wrestling match. He's going to retire in the ring at WrestleMania 42, and in doing so, he wants to take out Cody once and for all. So that is the end segment of this show, The Rock, a segment rating of 100. I've made a mistake or two here. First of all, I have not added Cody to this angle, which was what was supposed to be the case. He's supposed to be obviously in the ring, still kind of selling his injuries from the match he's just had with CM Punk. That hasn't happened. But ultimately, The Rock has issued this challenge and wants to face Cody at WrestleMania 42. What a way to end the show, undeniably. A really good rated segment. Just a shame that we didn't include Cody on the angle, because it was supposed to feed in and begin the show between the two of them. Whatever the case, this is what happened in terms of the overall rating. It's a 72, which is not quite what I was hoping for, to be perfectly honest. And that's a big problem, and you see how hard this save is going to be and how hard it's going to be to get WWE to the level it needs to be. Because even with an 83 rated main event and a 100 rated angle to end the show, we only got an overall rating of 72, which is still lower than it needs to be to increase or at least maintain our level of popularity in most of the regions that we put on our shows. So lots of work to do. Hopefully that won't impact our popularity too much, because if it goes much further down, we will be in serious trouble of no longer being a huge sized company, which will potentially lead to the owner letting us go, releasing us, sacking us. And that is all we've got time for today. That's the end of today's episode, but we've got a load of big stuff coming for you in the next couple of episodes. WrestleMania, both nights of WrestleMania will be taking place over the next 2 episodes. We'll bring you the Women's Tour and WrestleMania Night 1 next week, and then the week after that it will be WrestleMania Sunday with all of the latest happenings on the Men's Tour as well. Until then, thank you for watching.